Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. This is your fourth stimulus check update and daily news report. So House of Representatives just approved a new $3.5 trillion budget plan. The Internal Revenue Service made a new announcement on the next round of stimulus payments. And also remember, please, to leave a comment below. The House voted to advance the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, while simultaneously approving a $3.5 trillion budget blueprint that clears the way for Democrats in Congress to take action on a sweeping package that includes President Biden's key domestic policy proposals. Lawmakers voted along party lines 220 to 212 to approve a rule that deemed the budget framework as passed, a key step towards enacting President Biden's broader families plan, and set a September 27th deadline for the House to pass the infrastructure measure. This procedural resolution also moved forward a voting rights bill, a majority priority for congressional Democrats. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said on the House floor ahead of the vote, passing this rule paves the way for the Building Back Better plan, which will forge legislative progress unseen in 50 years. Passing this rule paves the way for the Building Back Better plan, which will forge legislative progress unseen in 50 years, that will stand for generations alongside the New Deal and the Great Society. Any delay in passing the rule threatens the Build Back Better plan, as well as the voting rights reform, also as well as a bipartisan infrastructure bill. We cannot surrender our leverage. In a statement, the Speaker also said she is committing to pass a bipartisan infrastructure bill by September 27th and will rally House Democratic support for its passage. President Biden praised Congress's progress on his Build Back Better agenda, saying that the country is a step closer to truly investing in the American people. The vote in the House was initially set up to take place on Monday evening, but was delayed after Pelosi and a group of moderate Democrats were at a stalemate over when the chamber would take up the bipartisan infrastructure plan passed by the Senate this month. The group of moderates, which started at 9 lawmakers and grew to 10 Monday, threatened to block the budget blueprint unless the House votes on the infrastructure bill first, which they said should be swiftly sent to Biden's desk.
Congratulations to Terry Sewell for her relentless, persistent leadership and advocacy for this Voting Rights Act. Little did we know when it would be finally passed here in the House that John would not be with us. But I do know that he is with us in spirit, and as Congresswoman Sewell said earlier, he's kind of looking down on us with great pride. Certainly pride in Terry Sewell. The district that she represents is full of history, but she is making progress in addition to honoring that history. The district that she represents has seen great pain, but she wants to bring great change. And what better way than the vote to make things different. So much of the history, the protection of the vote happened in her state in Alabama. And I just want to tell this one story. I was recently, you know, the case is Shelby County versus Holder. That would be Eric Holder, the former Attorney General of the United States. Right now, he's working very hard to pass H.R. 4, H.R. 1, have fairness in and the rest. And I saw him recently, and I said to his wife, Sharon, thank you for sharing Eric with us all, because the work he's doing for voting rights is just so remarkable, so remarkable. And she said to me, you don't have to thank me for his doing that work. And she showed me a picture of Lyndon Johnson signing the Voting Rights Act. Lucy Baines is right behind him. She was with all of you last week. When she was here with you before, she said, I was standing behind my daddy when they did the voting rights. She's standing right behind her daddy. But a few steps away is Sharon's sister. Yeah. She was the first one of the first to try to go to college, University of Alabama, that George Wallace prevented. So she said, you don't have to thank me for the work that he does for voting rights. It's completely in our family. So John Lewis was about connections, and how he fought the fight himself, revered the past that brought him to the place he was.
Nancy Pelosi, meanwhile, had repeatedly said that the House would not vote on the infrastructure plan, which focuses on physical infrastructure and left out many of Democrats' priorities, until the Senate passes a sweeping social spending plan. Progressive Democrats have threatened not to support the bipartisan infrastructure bill until the larger package wins Senate approval. Soon after they voted on Tuesday, the Congressional Progressive Caucus reiterated its position, saying that its members will only vote for the infrastructure bill after passing the reconciliation bill. Democrats are using a process called budget reconciliation to approve the larger spending package, which will include Biden's plans for child and elder care, an expansion of Medicare, universal pre-K, and family and sick leave. Passage of the budget framework is the first step in that process, and its approval allows a Democratic-led Congress to fast-track the sweeping families measure and pass the Senate without any GOP support. The standoff between Nancy Pelosi and the moderate Democrats derailed initial plans for the House to advance the infrastructure bill and budget blueprint Monday evening. But the logjam broke Tuesday as the House convened to pass a procedural measure tying approval of the budget framework, with the commitment for the chamber to vote on the infrastructure bill by September 27th, as well as advancing the voting rights bill. At this point, we're almost at the halfway mark in the federal government's distribution of the 6-check series of child tax credit payments. These payments stem from the $1.9 trillion relief legislation that Congress passed and President Biden signed back in March. We are a little more than 3 weeks out from the third child tax credit check being sent out by the IRS. That is scheduled to happen on September 15th. And these checks, remember, are one half of an advance payment of the temporary expanded child tax credit, with the second half of the total amount scheduled to come next year as a normal tax credit. Meanwhile, the IRS over the weekend shared an important update to child tax credit payment recipients, and there are several million of you might want to take note of. The Internal Revenue Service website involves an update to the online child tax credit portal, an update that those of you who are receiving these payments as paper checks in the mail need to know. The IRS website notes, the Internal Revenue Service has launched a new feature allowing any family receiving monthly child tax credit payments to quickly and easily update their mailing address using the Child Tax Credit Update portal. This feature will help any family that chooses to receive their payment by paper check avoid mailing delays or even having a check returned as undeliverable. Any family can have their September check and all future checks sent to their new address by using the portal to make an address change request. Since we are almost halfway through the child tax credit distribution, here is something else to know. The Internal Revenue Service says it will mail out a year-end summary, which will be called Letter 6419, to all taxpayers who receive these checks, which again is also one more reason why having the right address on file with the tax agency is very important. So everyone, that's the end of the video for this morning. Thank you so very much for joining me here today, subscribing to my channel, liking this video, and also remember to leave a comment below. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a very blessed day.